Hey guys, I'm Cameron and welcome back to my channel where we sip tea and also spill the tea as I talk about some of my favorite reads. Let's ignore the fact that the tea that I'm sipping today is actually Coke. But you know what? I think I deserve this Coke because I've had a really weird day today. It's not going as I planned it because, guys, this Sunday, which is basically tomorrow because today's Saturday, I was supposed to be posting a video that I had previously edited and I had it ready to go, and basically whenever I went onto iMovie today to just check on it again and do one last little look over, I realized that it had suddenly disappeared from my storage and from my iMovie library area. So guys, I decided to make another video on the fly, and so today, you know what, I just wanted to talk about something fun, and that is why in today's video we are going to be talking about some cringe-worthy reads that are actually very, very binge-worthy as well. So basically, just to give you like a little bit of an idea of what these books are actually going to be about, that I'm going to be talking to you about is basically just books that are like guilty pleasure reads. So without further ado, let's get into this video where I talk about 5 cringe-worthy yet binge-worthy reads. So the first book on this list is called The End of Me by Tara Brown. So this follows a 40-year-old woman who, whenever she was younger in her good old days, she was a huge spy. She was like the best spy in the world, and she was basically like the Tom Brady of spies, right? She's the GOAT, G-O-A-T, GOAT. But whenever she was in her heyday, she ended up meeting another spy who she fell in love with and she got married to, and she decided to settle down and to instead exchange her killing knives with the kitchen knives. You get it? Knives, you know, killing knives with the kitchen knives. Yeah, okay, guys, I realize that was even more cringeworthy than all the cringeworthy books that I'm going to be talking about in this video. Yeah, so let's continue on. So basically, our girl, instead of being a awesome epic spy, she is now doing something even more dangerous, even more thrilling, even more insane. She is a housewife. She is a mom. So now basically she's just living her life when all of a sudden things take a turn for the worse whenever her husband ends up getting killed, and she's now a widow of 2 children. So our woman is now prepared for anything, but she is not prepared for a CIA agent to come to her door and ask her to once again pick up her old spy hat and to start doing some more missions again. So now our woman, who is now 40 years old, she has been a housewife for over 10 years. She is now thrust back into this world of danger and action and mystery, and it's just really cool to be able to watch her as she once again starts trying to fill the shoes that she left behind as being like the greatest spy of all time. And while this is all going on, she actually ends up thrown into a dangerous situation with an even more dangerous man who happens to be an arms dealer, and she ends up having a little bit of a romance and flirtation with this man as he happens to be a big part of her mission's objective. So guys, like, this book overall, it is so fun. Whenever I picked this book up, I literally was turning the pages like crazy. It was just such a thrilling action piece of a novel, and the romance here was absolutely fantastic. There is a bit of a love triangle going on here. But guys, you may be wondering, why is this book on the cringeworthy reads? And I will tell you why. It is because the ending was just a little crazy to me. It was a little weird. So it just did not end the way I was expecting it to go. And it wasn't that it was a bad ending, it's just that it took a turn for the fantastical side of things, and it was just very, very unexpected and just a little weird. And I don't want to tell you what the ending was. I don't want to say anything because I don't want to give away any big spoilers, because that would be a big spoiler if I did tell you what happened, obviously. But guys, just know that that ending was just a little bit cringeworthy, and that is why this book is on the cringeworthy list. But please do know, just because that ending was cringeworthy, it does not take away from the fact that this book was so much fun. This is a series, and yeah, guys, I have yet to read the second book in this series, but I still have to tell you, it is completely binge-worthy. I just happen to have like a lot of books on my TBR, so I ended up picking up another book after this one, but it is so good, and I swear to God, once you read this first book, you're going to want to read more, because our main protagonist, Evie, she's just so much fun to read about. She's a breath of fresh air, because a lot of the times there are not a lot of books that are about these middle-aged women, and I just think it's really cool to be able to watch this woman as she goes from being an amazing spy to an amazing mom, and then going back and trying to go back to her roots and become that awesome and amazing spy once again. It is just really cool, and the romance, guys, it is so good. Check that book out. This is probably my favorite book on this list. Now, I am just rambling so much, so I'm going to go on to the next book on this list, okay? Yes. So the second book on my list is called Playing with Monsters by Amelia Hutchins. So guys, I just have to tell you, as this author, while she's so amazing and she is such a cool and addictive writer, there is just a common theme that I have found in all of her books, and I've realized over time, after being someone that has read multiple series by this author, that if you have read one series by this author, then you have read them all. And the reason why I'm saying this is because our author, she has a thing for tropes, and basically, guys, with every book that I have read, it is like we have the same two main leading characters in each series, except they have different names and different backgrounds, and it's because we always have the main alpha hole of the story. He is the sexy male character who is dominant and ferocious, and he's not completely likable, he's dangerous, and he's so powerful at the same time. And then we have the main female character, who she is basically so beautiful, so gorgeous and breathtaking, and she is also a completely epic female character. She is tough and strong, and just because she is a woman does not mean that she cannot kick butt. And guys, these stereotypes, these tropes, this is found in every single story by this author. But you know what, guys, you would think I would be so tired of it by now, but there's just something so addictive about these characters and about these tropes. This author just leaves me wanting more. So I know with each series that I go in, it's going to be like I'm reading the same two characters again, but you know what, guys, I still want to read it anyway. So that is basically what I mean about when I call this author and the books that she writes cringeworthy. So anyways, guys, let me tell you about Playing with Monsters. So this series happens to be one of my favorite series by this author, and I have read a lot of her back catalog, and yet this series is like, this is like the OG series for me. This is amazing, okay? So this follows a girl who is a witch, and I believe she had like her heart broken or something. She basically had her heart like cut in two. She's so upset. So she decided to leave her witch clan that she grew up with and to go off and do her own thing. And I think it has been like a year of her just grieving this heartbreak and trying to get over what happened to her. And she ends up getting called back to the witch clan because apparently like every so-and-so amount of years, the witches have this type of ceremony where it's like the breeding ceremony, and basically this is where the female witches come and mingle with the male witches, and they basically have a whole weekend where there is just lots of smutty and sexy goodness. So that by the end of this weekend, the female witches will walk out of this crazy weekend barefoot and pregnant. And guys, you may be wondering, why are they doing this? It's because these witches have like a hard time breeding and they have a hard time with fertility issues. So this is why they always have this type of breeding ceremony, so that they can try to have new women and men added to the ranks of the witches slash wizards or warlocks. I can't remember what the male variety is called or referred to as. Sorry guys. But anyways, so our girl, she ends up going to this ceremony, right? And it's here that she ends up meeting this man. I can't remember his name. Give me 1 minute while I check on my phone what his name is. Sorry guys. Lucien. So she ends up meeting this man named Lucien, and he is going to be the main alpha hole of the story, you know what I mean? So basically they end up meeting, and she knows that he is not a wizard or warlock. Like there is something else about him, just something like some extra oomph added to him, and he's not who he says he is. So basically as they start to get to know each other, our girl is trying to figure out like what exactly he is, because she knows that he's not just a warlock, he's not who he says he is. And guys, this is going to be a main theme throughout the whole series. So our girl is going to be trying to figure out what Lucien is exactly, because she knows that he is part of the supernatural community. She knows that he has some epic, freaking awesome, grand powers, but she doesn't know what he is, and he keeps it a secret from her for a very, very long time. Basically, guys, they are going to start to get to know each other, and they're going to like each other and have a romance. And while this is going on, there's going to be a whole lot of like supernatural elements and crazy fight scenes taking place as some other supernaturals are trying to go against our main girl and Lucien. So yeah, guys, this book, I will tell you, there is so much smut. This is the type of series that I like to say is all hot and very little plot. So guys, that is your one and only warning. If you are someone who you need a amazing and very well drawn out plot, then maybe look away and go somewhere else, because this is not the book series for you. This is all smut, this is all hotness, this is all that type of smutty goodness. And if you are not a fan of that, then I have to tell you that this isn't the series for you. But guys, you know what? I already told you that all these books, they're all cringeworthy for their own amazing, beautiful reasons, and this is what that book happens to be cringeworthy about. Okay, so guys, I still have to say though, this book was so addictive to me. This book was so much fun, and I don't know what it is about this series that I just felt like was the best compared to all of the other Amelia Hutchins series that I've read. I don't know, but this book just happened to have something that really made me want to read and just keep on reading. And in fact, I really want to reread this series again because it is that freaking good. I absolutely adore it. So yeah, guys, that is Playing with Monsters by Amelia Hutchins. Okay, and now the third book that I'm going to be talking to you guys is called Wolf Girl by Leah Stone. So this is actually a book that I have mentioned previously. I actually talked about it like in my last video for my January wrap up, and that's because obviously I just recently read this book. But guys, this book just was meant for this type of list because it was so cringeworthy. The romance, that romance, all of it was so cringeworthy. But guys, that doesn't mean that it was not binge-worthy, because it was so binge-worthy, you guys. It was so fun. I literally read that book in the span of an entire night, and guys, there was like 300 plus pages, I believe, in that book. And I read it all in a night, which is freaking crazy for me because I read like a freaking turtle. Alright? I'm definitely not the hare in the turtle and the hare story. Y'all know what I mean, right? So basically, guys, let me tell you what this book is about, okay? So this is basically like if Werewolves and the Selection series were by Kiera Cass were to come together and have an offspring. Yeah, this is that book, okay? So basically, guys, this follows a girl who is a werewolf. I can't remember her name, but just know that she is the main female protagonist. So basically, she is a werewolf, and her parents were very naughty and bad, and they happen to get banished from the werewolf community that is in this world. And so our main girl and her mom and her dad are living amongst the humans and other supernatural denizens. Now our girl, she is in college where only supernatural creatures can go to, and while she is at this college, she ends up having a chance encounter with the werewolf prince of the werewolf city. He happens to be visiting this college for some reason or another, and they end up meeting. And it's here that the werewolf prince, he decides to give our main girl another chance. He wants to let her come back to Werewolf City and attend the college where all the other werewolves in Werewolf City go to, right? So he gives her this opportunity and she takes it, and she basically has to leave behind her old life. She has to leave behind all of her friends in the supernatural human community that she's living in. She has to leave behind her parents and go with him to the Werewolf City and to the Werewolf College. And it's here that she finds out that she has to participate in this type of selection, bachelor-like competition to try to win the prince of the werewolf's heart, because basically the only way that the alpha, the prince of the werewolves, could get her to be able to come to the werewolf community, into the werewolf city, was to say that he wants her to compete in this contest, because if she didn't want to compete, then she wouldn't be able to be allowed. I don't know if I'm making much sense, but hopefully y'all understand what I'm trying to say, right? So basically, she is now going to Werewolf City, she's now going to the Werewolf College, and she's now also competing for the Prince of the Werewolf's heart. And while this is happening, our main girl and the main guy, the werewolf prince, they start to meet and like each other, and a romance starts to bloom right there. And then while this selection bachelor thing is going on, there's also a lot of mystery surrounding our main girl, around what type of werewolf she actually is, because apparently, guys, all you have to know is that she is going to be a very special snowflake. So if you like that type of trope, then just know that it is definitely there in this series. And yeah, guys, if you like The Bachelor, if you like werewolves, if you like a very cringe-worthy romance, then look no further. This book is for you, because I promise you, while this book is supposed to be about like the Bachelor-like contests, all you have to know is that there's actually no contest whatsoever. Our main guy, our main werewolf prince, he is head over heels in love with our main girl, and yeah, basically we're all just waiting the moment for him to announce like that she is the chosen one, right? We all know that he likes her. There is no contest, okay? So guys, this book, it was such a fun read. Like I said, I read it in the span of a day. There is just so much drama in this book. There is definitely a lot of prissy girls that are highlighted in this story as they try to compete for the heart of the main werewolf prince. And there's also a lot of action and mystery that is also thrown into the story. So if you are a fan of any of that, then definitely check the story out because it is totally meant for you. Okay, so now let's go on to the fourth book on this list. So the fourth book that I'm going to be talking to you guys about is called Vampire Girl by Ikamread. So this basically follows a girl who has just turned 18 years old, and apparently whenever she was a baby, her mom made like a deal with the devil and excuse me. So basically, whenever she was a baby, her mom made a deal with the devil to offer up her daughter went to the devil whenever she turned 18 in an arranged marriage type of situation. Basically, whenever this girl turns 18, she gets to choose from, I believe, 5 different princes. There might be more. I can't remember, but there are 5 different princes of hell, and whenever she turns 18, she gets her choice of the 5, and she will basically choose one of them, get married with them, and sire a whole lot of heirs that will be the heir to the throne of hell. So yeah, this girl's mom definitely did not get the Mom of the Year award, right? So anyways, our girl, she did not know about any of this. I don't think she's close with her mom. Maybe her mom ended up passing away. It's been a while since I've read this book, but basically she's not that close with her mom. That's all you need to know. And this is all a surprise for her, but she finds this out right when she turns 18 on her 18th birthday, and she basically gets dragged to hell, where she ends up going to each dimension of hell, where she ends up spending like 3 to 4 months, or I don't know, she ends up spending a certain amount of time in each dimension of hell, where she gets to spend some quality time with each prince of hell. And yeah, guys, all I have to say is that this book was so good. I loved the main character. She just had such a unique voice. She had such a fun voice. She was just the type of person where she was fun to read about, and I loved to read about what she would say next. I loved reading her dialogue exchanges with all the other characters in this series. She was just very, very witty, and she was just a breath of fresh air. She was fun to read about, and she made this story so bingeable. She was basically the reason why I loved this series so much. But I also have to say that the other characters in this story, they were just as fun to read about. There was one certain prince of hell who I absolutely adored. He was just somebody who, he kind of gave me like Adrian Ivashkov vibes from the Bloodline series, because he was just so egotistical, so confident, and he always had such a snarky comment. Every time I was reading about him and reading his dialogue, I had the biggest smile on my face. And now guys, the reason why I have to say that this book was cringeworthy was because the romance in this story, just like Wolf Girl, it was so cringeworthy. Because guys, there was no secret from the very beginning who our main girl was going to end up with. Like, we knew instantly who our girl liked and who our girl was going to choose to be the father and the daddy of her children. We all knew who it was gonna be. It was no secret, you guys. But obviously, it was still a secret to our girl. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, but our girl, in her head, she was always saying like, oh, who am I gonna choose? I don't know who I'm gonna be with, yada, 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 yada. But while this was all going on, she was still talking to this specific prince of hell who we all knew was gonna be her one true love, right? And it was just very, very obvious who our author intended her Prince of Hell to be. But our girl was just, you know, our main girl was just lagging behind. But guys, by the end of the story, insta love saved the day, and she ended up choosing the Prince of Hell, who we all knew she was gonna choose from the very beginning. And yeah, guys, that is what was very, very cringeworthy about this story. But guys, this book was so much fun, and I have to tell you, if you are experiencing any type of a reading slump, then read this book, because it is so binge worthy. It is so much fun to read, and I guarantee that you will read this book in less than a night. In less than 24 hours, this book will be done, and you will devour this book, okay? Because it is that freaking good. So that is Vampire Girl by Ikamread. And the fifth and final book that I'm going to be talking about to you guys is called Ruthless People by J.J. McAvoy. So this series is about an arranged marriage between the Italian mafia and the Irish mob. So basically, this girl named Melody was destined and arranged to be married to this man named Liam, who is meant to be the future head of the Irish mob. So guys, basically, whenever these two people meet, they both have very different ideas of what's going to happen in this arranged marriage, because our guy Liam, he's expecting to meet a very docile and weak girl who will basically warm his bed and have sex with him whenever he comes home from a long, hard day of mob related work. And whenever he meets our very weak and very docile main character Melody, he is very, very, very surprised, because she happens to not be weak and to not be docile, and he actually finds out that she is like the shadow leader of the Italian mafia. So basically, this girl, her father has been very, very ill and very sick, and in his place, she has been leading the Italian mafia for years, and nobody knows it. They keep it very much under wraps, and our guy Liam is so surprised to find this out, and he's also very surprised to see just how ruthless she is, and how power hungry she is, and how dangerous and completely just epic she truly is. She is not the type of woman that you mess around with. She will not be rolled over. She is a freaking boss. And so obviously, whenever these two get together, there are a lot of fights that ensue. So guys, it was just so much fun to read about as they start to have these fights and they start to pull pranks on each other. And guys, like, I was laughing so much whenever I was reading this, but obviously things start to smooth down, and after they get to know each other, they basically fall like head over heels in love with one another. They really like each other, and yeah, guys, from there on out, the story unfolds as they join forces, they get married, and they start their criminal enterprise together. And from there on out, we get to watch them as they take on all of these different enemies that try to go against them, and they start to try to dabble in politics as well. And yeah, guys, this book was so much fun and just thrilling to read about. It was so freaking juicy. But again, the cringeworthy aspect of this was that I feel like these characters were just too much of what they were. And what I mean by that is that our girl, Melody, she was supposed to be somebody who is so ruthless. She does not take no for an answer. She is emotionless, and she is hard and tough and strong. And guys, when I say she is hard and tough and strong, I mean there is just there went to a point where she was too hard, too tough, too strong, too unemotional, too ruthless. And it just got to the point where it was kind of annoying because, yeah, like, I feel like we were basically being reminded at every twist and every turn on every single page just how ruthless, just how tough, just how strong she was, you know, and that just really kind of started to get under my skin after a while because, guys, like, I wanted to see a bit of softness from her. It just kind of annoyed me in a small way, right? And then another part of the story that was very, very cringeworthy was the romance. So, guys, I just feel like the author could have spent so much more time of having them fight with each other and have pranks and not get along. I feel like it almost happened instantaneously, like in a matter of like 100 pages whenever they decided that they were going to get together and live happily ever after. Like, it wasn't really that believable in my opinion. Like, it's like, at one point, they were completely going at each other like crazy madmen, and then in the next, they were going at each other for a whole nother reason entirely. For sexy reasons, you know. But anyways, guys, just because there were a lot of cringeworthy aspects, it does not take away the funness. Is that a word? It doesn't matter, I'm gonna use it anyways. It does not take away the funness and the epicness of this freaking story. It was so page turning worthy. I was turning so many freaking pages. I was surprised that I didn't get any freaking paper cuts, and even if I did get paper cuts, it would still be worth it because it was that amazing. I just loved these two characters. I thought that they were so much fun to read about. I loved all the action that was taking place. And yeah, guys, this book was very cringeworthy, but it was also very, very binge-worthy as well. And I would definitely recommend this book 100% for you to read and for you to check out, especially if you are somebody who you like to read about mafia and mob-related stories. This is definitely up your freaking alley. So yeah, guys, that is Ruthless People by JJ McAvoy. Okay, so guys, we have made it to the end of this video. If you like this video, then please make sure to like and subscribe because I post new videos usually every week, and I would love to be able to welcome you to my little corner of BookTube. And yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and yeah, I'll see you guys next week, okay? Mwah. Bye.